I'm gonna get. Can you hear?
Mic check, mic check.
Yeah.
My mic up. My mic up.
No, my mic is not on either. Can you? Cause okay, I can hear it now.
I can hear you fine.
Okay,
Can anybody hear me? Mic check, mic check.
I got you.
Mic check.
I got you.
I can't hear myself
you-
though.
Can you good, Sam?
Mic
I
check.
can hear you.
That's better.
Okay, I can hear you
That's
too.
much
All
better.
right.
Yeah, that's much better.
I'm just so people don't know I'm lying. I put Tim Hardy down here as one of my headphones because the position he got.
You saw that they partnered with you, huh?
Oh yeah, I saw. That's what I'm gonna talk about.
Issues That Matter with Calvin Lester and Stephen Jackson on WKSH 97.7 The Heat.
Good evening. I'm Calvin Lester, that's Stephen Jackson, and we are here. It is Issues That Matter, and we thank you for your time and attention. We have a great show for you to talk about some things that are happening in our city and our state. We've got a very special guest that's going to grace us, but before we get to that, we always want to take a moment to thank Brother Johnny Antoine for opening up this platform, because we know that, in the day that we live, we don't have access to give you information, and we know that information is very important. And for those who are listening, we know that you have this portal because Johnny Antoine is very community minded, and he gives us that. And I thank you for opening that portal for us, and giving us opportunity to tell our story to our people. So, Brother Johnny, we thank you so very much, and for opening us up this portal. Brother Jackson, how you doing today, brother?
Man, I'm doing well. Happy Tuesday. I don't know why it feels like Wednesday or Monday, but it feels like everything but Tuesday. But happy Tuesday to everybody. Johnny, again, we thank you for being able to come in and, just share with our community what's going on.
Right.
Real news. We don't make up the news. We bring it to you. That's why it's called Issues That Matter. And so, Johnny, without the radio station, not being able to come here and have this voice for people, and people are listening because they stop me all the time and say, hey, we heard the show, we heard you talk about this, y'all keep up the good work, those kind of things. So thank you for tuning in. If individuals want to call in, participate, how can they do that?
And that's a great question. If they want to call in, they can do it one of two ways. They can give us a call at 318-779-0459, 318-779-0459, or if you're watching on Beyonce's internet, you can send us a message in chat and we'll hear from you. So we'd love to hear from you this evening.
So what you got for the headline?
So I'm gonna take a huge point of personal privilege and give a huge shout out to my fraternity brother and good friend of our guest, Mr. Tim Hardy, Esquire, Attorney Tim Hardy, born and raised in Shreveport, son of Lakeside Acres, graduate of Southern University and Southern University Law School, was appointed as the chairman of the board for the Louisiana Technical College System. That is huge. There are not very many African Americans who run entire college systems. Of course, we know Rick Gallo is over the University of Louisiana system, who happens to be a graduate of Southern University Law Center, and that's a fact. He is. I mean, if you look. Rick Gallo is president of ULL. He's a graduate of Southern University Law Center. Tim Hardy is the chairman of the board for the Louisiana Technical College System. Northwestern State University's president is a graduate of Southern University Law School. I can go on.
Former president.
Well,
he's going to the UL system now.
Well, hey,
Marcus Jones, right?
Yes, that's right. That's right. And right now, the president of Louisiana Tech, Dr. Jim Henderson, is not quite a graduate, but he's taking class at the Southern University Law Center. But I want to thank Tim Hardy for his advocacy. Anyone who knows Tim Hardy knows he is an attorney of excellence. He is one of the most highly rated attorneys as it relates to environmental justice and environmental law in the state of Louisiana and the country. And he's a Shreveport guy. And so kudos to Governor Landry for appointing Tim Hardy for that position. That's a great look for the area. What you got?
Well, in a bit of a twist, the not Louisiana, but the United States Supreme Court rendered a decision in a voting rights, a redistricting issue that might have implications in Louisiana.
Okay.
What they came down and basically said was that it's okay to gerrymander, but it's not okay to gerrymander by politics now, or for whatever reasons you have to. If you're going to do it by a certain shape, that shape has to be compact and things of that nature. And a lot of observers think that it might have implications, or they're kind of watching with bated breath to see if there are implications here in Louisiana. As you know, just 3 weeks ago, I keep saying Louisiana, the U.S. Supreme Court
Right.
Issued a stay,
Right.
which basically allows Louisiana to go forward with a map that will help elect or give the opportunity,
Right.
because you have to go vote for us to elect.
Correct.
But will give us the opportunity to go elect a second black congressional representative for the state of Louisiana in Congress. And so this recent decision, which was, I think, a 6-3, 6-3 opinion, and I think it was dealing with a case in South Carolina.
Oh yeah.
And Justice Alito wrote the opinion. So
Dun, 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 dun.
right, Mr. Flag upside down
Yes,
himself.
yes.
Mr. Take Lavish Trips.
Yes.
We ain't getting out. But
Nah, no,
but he authored the opinion. And
Mr. Godliness himself.
Yeah. And did you hear about the secret recording?
That's what I'm talking about. We'll talk about that later. We'll talk about that
all
later.
right. So, but he authored the opinion for the right and for the court, and some people think that it could have. I guess the question is the court? They've kind of sent a mixed. They've kind of sent mixed messages,
Right.
Because you have the opinion that they issued in Alabama, which lends itself to a favorable ruling in
Correct.
Louisiana, but now you have this opinion in South Carolina, which people are like, ugh. So the question is going to be, which direction will they go? And I think they even went so far as to say it's not the court's place to decide the map. So what, a couple of years ago they said that the court was the decider of it. So that they took the Justice Department out. So I guess we'll keep going in this circle, and we hope that they will keep the map that we've adopted in place. What else you got?
No, I mean, I just to end that, I think the thing that we need to do is vote. We need to re-elect Joe Biden. We need to keep the Senate and the House, and we need to redo the Voting Rights Act. And I think if we do that, that's something that we need to do. That'll deal with some of those issues. One of the things that I saw, and this is, speaking of a state issue, there was a lot of press today about a bill that was signed by our governor. I think it's Senate Bill 494 that talked about economic development, and they're excited about some of the changes to the Louisiana Department of Economic Development, this whole idea to put Louisiana to be competitive. So we'll see how that goes. I'm not opposed to it. I mean, I like to win, and if there's some legislation that's going to help our state become more competitive and effective, I think that's a good thing. So, there was a lot of conversation about that today across all networks, and so we'll see how that goes. Yeah. So listen, we're going to take a real quick break, and we will be back. We've got a very special guest that's going to help us break down, speaking of Senate bills, a lot of the things that happen in Louisiana legislature that we've been talking about after we come back from the break. So that's my tease. Stick with us on the other side of the break, and we will be back, and we'll have a lot more. You're listening to Issues That Matter, 97.7 The Heat. We play what we want to play and say what we want to say. Stick with us.
Loving you is easy 'cause you're beautiful. Making love with you is all I wanna do. Loving you is more than just a dream come true. is out of loving you. La 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 doo 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 doo. No one else can make me feel the colors that you bring. Stay with me while we grow old, and we will live each day in springtime. 'Cause loving you has made my life so beautiful, and every day of my life is filled with loving you. Loving you, I see your soul come shining through, and every time that we, ooh, I'm more in love with you. La 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 la, la 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 la, la 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 la.
Okay,
La
okay.
la la la, doo 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 doo.
Issues That Matter with Calvin Lester and Stephen Jackson on WKSH 97.7 Dahit.
And we are back. We're back. 97.7 The Heat. We thank you for your kind attention and your listenership. And, of course, if you want to listen, you can call us at 318-779-0459, 318-779-0459. We love to hear from you. We've got a very special guest, and I'm going to let my co-host introduce him because this is someone he has been seeing a lot of in the last few months. Brother Jackson, who you got?
Yo, well, we and we laughing because John can't turn me up. I'm laughing because it is true that we've seen quite a bit of each other. Probably more than he wants to see me because I'm on his side of the chamber, of the house, of the building, more than I probably should be. But ladies and gentlemen, we have with us State Senator, the Honorable Sam Jenkins, Senator for District 39. Senator Jenkins has served our region at the parish level. He was a parish commissioner. He's also served on the Shreveport City Council. He has also been very active in the Queensboro Neighborhood Association. He's a practicing attorney. Don't know how he's been able to practice the last 6 months. Senator, somebody asked me yesterday, how was the car business going? I told them I have not sold a single car this year. I said, catch me in December and ask me, and we'll see. But the senator won decisively last year, an open seat for Senate District 39. He's the former House Democratic leader, and so he's enjoying, I assume he's enjoying his time over in the country club, as we call it. Some people call it the retirement home. I call it the country club over in the Senate. And so welcome to the show, Senator Sam Jenkins.
Thank you so very much. I appreciate the opportunity to be here with you, Representative, and with
My senator.
Yeah, one of my favorite councilmen.
Yes.
And it's good to be here with your audience today.
Yeah,
Yes.
I think this is his first time in studio.
In studio, because he
We've had
called
him
in.
on. We've had him on twice, I think, calling
Right.
in.
Right.
This is
You're correct.
the first time in studio. So
Right.
as
You're
you can
correct.
see, we're not here just talking into a little what's his name. We got a real setup here.
That's right. That's right. That's
I
right.
am deeply impressed with what I'm seeing here. I was just telling my friend there, it may be a well-kept secret, but
Right.
I am absolutely impressed with the technology that's here and the studio and the way things are set up. And
Absolutely.
we certainly need to make sure we're doing all we can to make sure that there's some exposure here for this work that's going on here.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
Senator, we thank you so much for dropping in. Calvin, what you?
So let me go in reverse and let me ask the question that I asked Representative Jackson when we were on last. You have the dubious honor, I believe, of being the only person in Caddo Parish, correct me if I'm wrong, that has served on the Parish Commission, the City Council, the House of Representatives, and the Louisiana Senate. You hit all four legislative levels from parish, city to state government. Nobody else has done that. There have been several people that have gone from the council to the state rep. You've got some people that have gone from the council to obviously from the parish to the state rep, from the whatever. But you've hit all four. In the upper house of the legislature, having served at the 3 other levels, talk to our audience if there is any difference being a senator than being a state rep or being a council person or being a parish commissioner. Kind of let our audience into the back of the house and to see literally what is the difference in all of that and why it makes a difference.
Well, first of all, let me say, I'm thankful to God for those opportunities that have been presented. And I'm thankful to the people in these various districts who have elected me. And I think you are correct as far as serving in those capacities. I may be the only person who have done it, but I give honor to God for that, and
right.
also to the persons who elected me. In local government, as the representative know, I still say that's the government that's closest to the people, because you're going to see and be in the churches and in the neighborhood, and they're going to be able to come down to City Hall and
right.
be able to talk more frequently with you. You probably understand
right.
that also, being a former city councilman. Now, when you go into state legislature, you're away. We've been away since January, basically.
Wow.
We had 3 different sessions, one in January on crime, came back, had to do another one in February on redistricting, and now we just finished the regular session that started in March and ended in June. So one of the big differences is the time that you are away. But the important thing is to be effective wherever you are.
Gotcha.
And to make sure that you're leaving your mark wherever you are. And I feel pretty proud of the accomplishments with the help of the people and the hand that they've given me, that we have done some things at each level to make life a little bit better for people here in our city.
Good, great job, Senator. Let me ask you this. You have talked about just, being on the legislative level. I'm new to it. Tell people the difference between being in the House and the Senate. I kind of read an article last week where you talked about the pace of things. I hope you don't answer it the way Lyndon B. Johnson, President Johnson, was once asked, what's the difference between the being in Congress, being on the House side in Congress, and being on the Senate side in Congress? And he said it's the same difference between chicken salad and chicken, what. And so I hope that's not going to be.
No, I think I got a better observation than that. And
right.
I love the stories about Lyndon B. Johnson. He's one of my favorite presidents. But look, in the House of Representatives, obviously there are more people. You got 105 representatives. In the Senate, there's only 39. So you can bond with people a whole lot quicker based on my experience in the Senate than you can in the House, simply because of the sheer numbers. Each of those houses, each of those chambers, rather, to me, need to be respected, because in the House of Representatives, all appropriations start there in the House of Representatives. That's where the money actually that's going to be going out the door actually gets started. In the Senate, you have the power of confirmation, which means that a lot of the people that will be put in charge of governmental agencies and things of that nature, you're going to have a role in making sure that those people are qualified to serve. So those are just some basic differences between the two. But I think as legislators, be a state representative or a senator, you're representing people, some of the same people, just like you and I represent some of the same people. And you just want to make sure that you do the best job you can and make life a little bit better for them.
Yep. So let me say this, and I've said this to Stephen as his position as representative. One of the things that I have been critical in the past of our legislative delegation is that they were not on the same page a lot of times, and because they were not on the same page, Shreveport lost, Cattle Parish lost. There was some instances where you guys, it appeared that there was some disharmony, but it also appears that you were the, dare I say, the calming voice that kind of brought some people to the table to get some things done. So kind of talk to us, having had the experience, people may not realize that not only were you in the House of Representatives, but you were the chairman of the Democratic caucus. And so you had a responsibility to us as representing our area, but you also had the responsibility of bringing Democrats together to stick together. As a senator, there were several instances in this session where you kind of brought people together around some things that they might have had some heartburn about,
Right.
To put it mildly.
Yeah. So, the legislative process, there's going to be some give and take. But I think, you have to be respective of the districts. Now, you take care in North Louisiana, there are a number of different assets here in the city. You take like the medical center, the colleges, the universities. You even take like downtown Shreveport.
Right.
Those areas are comprised of Senate districts.
Right.
And everyone that's in the legislature and our delegation should have a voice in what goes on with those assets. But you have to give some deference, I believe, to the person that was elected in those areas. And when you're talking about, those type assets. So I think we did have some issues that came up around that. I'm hoping that we can get beyond it. I think it's very important, as you were saying, Councilman, that we do the job that the people want us to do. You're not going to always agree. You got Democrats, you got Republicans, you got liberals, you have conservatives, and what's important to some may not be that important to others. But at the end of the day, I think people are going to judge us based on what we were able to deliver. And I think we did very good, I would say, Representative, as far as trying to bring back projects to this area. We made sure that Southern University Shreveport received funding, capital outlay projects, trying to get the gym up there open, trying to make
Jesus.
Yeah, trying to make sure that the mobile health unit is going to be up and running. Make sure workforce development that they're trying to do, those programs are going. We made funding available to the LSU medical school, trying to make sure that they got the classroom buildings and research and areas like that. Funding is available there. We were even able to come in and help our chambers of commerce, both the Greater Shreveport Chamber of Commerce and the Shreveport-Bossier African American Chamber of Commerce with some funding so that they could go ahead and move forward with some of the missions that they are trying to accomplish. I certainly want to compliment Representative Jackson, who took the lead on creating a economic development district in this area, something I think is sorely needed. That way we can kind of galvanize and be on one page with state funding, federal funding, to go into some areas right outside of downtown Shreveport and some areas along I-20 that are being neglected to some extent, and now try to do some in those areas that's going to spark some economic development. So I think at the end of the day, we need to make sure that we're coming back and we're talking about the successes that we were able to achieve in that in the legislature, because there's going to always be some friction and some differences of opinion.
Right. Yeah, you're absolutely right, Senator. I was just at the School Park Neighborhood Association, and I emphasized, just as you just said, that we got to talk about more of our wins.
Exactly.
We got to talk about the news won't, they're going to capture the big conversation pieces where it seems like everybody's at each other's throats, but there are some wins. And so speaking of wins, as you know, we've been down there for 6 months, our regular session. What would you likely say are some of the wins that are important to you that you would like for listeners to know? These are things that you can be proud of, but you might not necessarily hear it in the news.
Well, I'll put it this way. There are some things I liked. There were some outcomes I liked, but there were some that I didn't like. And I kind of talk about it in those terms. I like the idea that, once again, we were able to give our teachers and school personnel a stipend. But I don't like the fact that we continue to kick the can down the road with giving them a recurring pay raise. I like the idea that we're able to come in and make sure that the summer feeding program for children and the $71 million in federal funds was accepted here in this state. But I don't like the idea that we were not able to fully fund early childhood education. We're leaving some children out that way. I like the idea that we came out this process with a new second majority black congressional district, but I don't like the idea that we're having more stricter rules put in place on voting,
Right.
especially the mail ballot
Right.
and
Voter registration.
voter registration, even all the way down to you can't help people somewhat with voter applications.
Right.
I know that we need to address crime, but I don't like the idea that we are talking about expanding the death penalty and even talking about castration of people who commit, the heinous act of engaging in some kind of a sexual exploitation of children. So that was some things I think that were good, but there are some things I think that was allowed to stay on the table. And my hope, Representative and Councilman, is that as time go on, we'll go back maybe and tweak some issues that were left on the table, and maybe go back and try to better address some of the concerns. It was a very fast pace. You had a new governor with a new agenda, and you got majority conservatives in both chambers. And to that credit, they pushed forward an agenda that they think is the best agenda for the state. But those of us who are representing people who may not agree with that, I think stayed strong, stayed together for the most part, and tried to make sure the voices of the people that we're representing is being heard also.
Let me kind of go into maybe dig a little deeper there. You talked about things that you liked and didn't like, and we got a new governor and these super majorities. We know that the courts have said that the current legislative districts are unconstitutional and we need to go back and likely redraw those. But there were many instances, and share your thoughts with us and with the audience. There were many instances where a lot of people would say, well, let's just wait to see what the senator's going to do, or what does I'll call him Senate President Henry, but a lot of people would just say, what is Cameron thinking? And y'all were able to either put the brakes on some things or slow some things down, or just say, look, you may want it this way, but we see it see it another way.
No, absolutely. I do think, and I do want to commend Senate President Cameron Henry. I think he protected the independence of the Senate as being an independent legislative body. There were a number of measures that came our way that we were able to, in some ways, reshape. You take like the ESAs, the savings account, education savings accounts. That bill was really changed quite a bit from what it started out to be. We were able to also stop a lot of the anti-union bills that was coming through.
Surprising.
Yeah, a lot of those. Well, I was somewhat surprised myself, Representative, if you just want to know the truth. Now, given the committee that was before,
right.
I was really
chaired that committee, right?
Yeah, I was really surprised that we were able to do some things to stop that. I believe also that we want to continue to try to do what we can to work with the governor. All of us want to do what we can to work with the governor, but there has to be a mutual respect that takes place between the executive branch and the legislative branch, and we want to make sure that we are turning out legislation that is not just rubber stamped, is being vetted the way that it needs to be vetted, and the outcomes can be something different.
Okay. That's great. So listen, we're going to take a real quick break, and we'll be back with more. You're listening to 97.7 The Heat, WKSH. We play what we want to play and say what we want to say. Stick with us.
I will love you anyway, even if you cannot stay. I think you are the one for me. Here is where you ought to be. I just want to satisfy you, though you're not mine. I can't deny it. Don't you hear me talking, baby? Love me now, I'll go crazy. Oh, sweet thing. Oh, you know you're my everything. Oh, sweet thing. Oh, you know you're my everything. Yes, I wish you were my lover, but you act so
Issues That Matter with Calvin Lester and Stephen Jackson on WKSH 97.7 The Heat.
And we are back. We're back. We have been talking, and we have in the studio with us State Senator Sam Jenkins, representing Senate District 39. We've been talking about the marathon of special sessions that we've been in and some of the things that he's been able to spearhead and lead in his last 6 months as the newly elected senator for our area. A lot of people don't know. Quick fact is you don't get to another Democratic senator until you get to Alexandria. Opelousas.
Wow. Well, Democratic Alexandria, I'm sorry.
Right, Alexandria. And you don't get to another black
to Opelousas
until you get to the Opelousas area. So when we talk about black Democratic representation for Northwest Louisiana, Senator Jenkins is our senator. Calvin, what you got?
And on that note, I wanted to talk about this piece before we go into some of the details. Senator, you were fortunate enough to serve as the Democratic whip, the Democratic leader, under a Democratic governor.
Right.
Well, you
and it's not the whip. Oh. I'm saying he was a leader.
Chairman.
I'm sorry. He had to whip the votes.
Okay.
No, he had to use the whip sometimes to get them in line. But the point that I'm making
my
is
the whip, and I call myself the deputy.
There you go.
I know myself as the deputy.
So as a leader of the Democratic Party, you had to keep everybody together under a Democratic governor. Talk to our listeners about the fact that there is a literally new sheriff in town. Thank God we got a new sheriff. But there's a new sheriff in town, which people need to understand that the expectations, you move a little differently because there was a time where if some things were foul, you had to line to the fourth floor. Ain't know what the governor's office is? Fourth floor. You had a line to the fourth floor and you could make some things happen. That ain't your reality now. And so you have to adapt the strategy and the playbook has to be different. Talk to our listeners about how you and folks like Brother Jackson have had to strategize dealing with this new governor and a new majority.
Well, you hit the nail on the head. I mean, we just came out of 8 years of a Democratic governor under John Bell Edwards. For 6 of those years, I served in leadership in the House of Representatives. 2 years as vice chair of the caucus, and 4 years, his entire last term, as chair. So, as you said, one of the things I believe that the conservative in the legislature knew, as you were saying, that we had a backstop.
Right.
I mean, if it was a bad bill, we pretty much knew that the governor wasn't going to sign it. So they had to compromise along the way to make sure that whatever came out in the end was something that the governor was comfortable with.
Right.
As you said, now it's a lot different now because you got conservative majorities in both houses, a very conservative governor, and he has an agenda that he's pushing very hard to move forward with. So to have some accomplishments now, you really do have to work with people. You do have to understand there's going to be some differences of opinion.
Right.
But what I found, I mean, through these past 3 sessions, there are some things that you just really not going to be able to get together on. But there are some things that you can, if you sit down and talk it out and try to come up with some a little bit more of a compromise maybe than what you want.
Right.
In the end, you could get a product out. And we saw that happen several times here as we went through this particular process. But yes, people do need to understand this is a different day. It's a different day with crime.
Right.
And I've been going around and doing some interviews and telling everybody now you're not just going to get a slap on the hand with a lot of crimes that you commit. What they're doing now, they're trying to get rid of parole. They'll keep you in jail for a much longer period of time. And they're finding the money to try to build more jails. And now if you're 17, you can be prosecuted as an adult.
Right.
So I'm saying to the grandmothers and grandfathers and to the fathers and the mothers, talk to your children.
Right.
This is a different Louisiana when it comes to committing crimes now.
Right.
And your kids cannot afford to be in the wrong place at the wrong time with the wrong company because everything is very, very serious now on the crime side.
Right. Yeah. Those 3 gentlemen, I read an article yesterday that talked about 3 gentlemen. Somebody threw gasoline on the police. Somebody hit butted a police officer. And I think somebody bit a police officer. I said, yeah.
Outta here.
They probably be a good little while before they see the street again. So
No about it. And first offenses are being taken very seriously now.
discretions from judges and DAs are being removed.
Absolutely. So that is one thing we really do need to make sure that, especially our young black males, understand that a lot of things that maybe was probationary in the past or something like that, now they are trying to actually make sure you serve some time with it. So everybody talk to everybody and just realize that is one of the different things that you're going to be seeing on the landscape that's out there right now.
I don't mean to use profanity, but I got to use the word, Johnny.
Okay.
I don't know if you got the button, but let's talk insurance, and let's talk what were you pleased, or are you sort of still trying to sort through some of the insurance reforms that we were able to move through the session? I know I've shared my thoughts about it, but just in the upper chamber, y'all have more time to kind of mellow over these things and really vet and flesh stuff out. What are your thoughts on insurance?
I tell you, we have a new insurance commissioner. I want to give him, some latitude to try to work in, but I still think we came up short this session on insurance. And I campaigned very hard on trying to make sure that we have some good dialogue with whoever the commissioner was going to be, and try to see what we can do to try to reduce insurance premiums. But I still think we're going about it the wrong way, Representative. Like I say, I go back to things I like and don't like. I like the idea that I think we made some edges, such as expanding the fortified roof program and trying to make sure that we gave some incentive money to property insurers. So we're making some steps, I believe, that may help lower some property insurance. But the next big item is the automobile insurance. And I still think that there's the thought that the only way you're going to lower the premiums is to get rid of claims. I don't ascribe to that theory, okay? That's why people have insurance, and that's why they're going to make a claim, because they're paying for insurance.
Right.
Until we could really get the insurance industry to the table, which they have not done as of yet, and start talking about issues like redlining and issues like, making premiums or setting rates on everything other than your driving record.
Right.
We're going to continue to see, in my opinion, a constant rise in automobile insurance premiums. So I'm disappointed that we did not make some great strides there, but that's not to say there's not some opportunities that may lie ahead to get some of that accomplished before this term is over.
Gotcha.
Well, let me tell you something that I saw that got started that y'all shut down, and I'm glad y'all shut down. Speaking of insurance, I'm not going to call any names, but there was some foolishness. This is my term, not anybody else's, where they wanted to make it harder for a average person to have a jury trial. You got to put up all this money,
Right.
Yeah.
and you got hit.
Right.
Somebody ran over your car. Somebody knocked in your door. Somebody did something to you. And rather than you have the ability that everybody else has to say, I want 12 citizens or 6 citizens in my neighborhood, in my community, to tell me or them if they right or wrong, they were trying to deny the right to a jury. And y'all shut that down.
Oh, absolutely.
And I'm so glad you did. But it was
one of the rare times the House
Right.
stops.
Right.
very rare.
And it just plays into that thought that it's all about claims, and when it's not. And you add that to the idea about what we call collateral source.
Right.
The idea that you cannot be fully compensated by the person that hit you.
Yeah.
It makes absolutely no sense that for some reason you got to get a reduced compensation,
Right.
because you have health insurance or some
Right.
other collateral source that you are paying for now to come in and help you pay bills that you only incurred because the other party struck you. See, the whole thought process makes no sense.
I was watching that day when you went to the well, and we're not gonna get a person who was carrying that bill in the shine. It just so happens that person is from Shreveport, and you were like,
from Bosch.
"Oh well, okay." And so you were going. So wait a minute. You mean to tell me that a client, a person who got harmed because they had insurance,
Get paid less.
you get paid less,
Right.
but your medical bills are the same. But you got to take less.
Exactly.
Because they hit you so you punish for having insurance. But if you don't have insurance, you get a ticket.
And you got to put up
Exactly.
And you got to put up like this big cash
God, that's crazy.
bond.
No doubt. It's
just to have, what is a cash bond to have a jury trial?
Absolutely.
You have to have the cash.
And it was going to make it very, very
Cash,
difficult,
Calvin.
as the councilman was saying. But those it's things like that we must
Right.
have a different paradigm about and begin
Right.
to really look at what the issues really, really are. And insurance industry sets rates. I mean, that's the bottom line. Trial lawyers don't set rates. Injury victims do not set rates.
Right.
Not even the people who cause the injury set rates.
Right.
If you want to reduce rates, let's put in a bill that you're going to reduce rates by a certain percent
Right.
based on this thing or this factor or that factor.
Right.
And I think you begin to see some action there.
Right.
That's been tendered before and was rejected.
Well, I mean, we know why I was rejected because Big Mama said it's too much like right.
I understand.
One other thing that I want to hit, and I know you've been talking about it, and I don't want to get too deep into it because I know you've got a whole number of things that you want to talk about this issue. But as a practicing attorney, you are very sensitive to what's going on in our court system. That's where you practice. That's where you've made your name. That's how you've been able to help a lot of regular citizens get justice when they needed it. One of the things that I saw that you guys did was create a second majority African American state Supreme Court district. One, I was very excited about that because having more representation is always a good thing. But I also saw where in drawing that, the other districts were aligned in such a way that Black Shreveport is going to have much more of a say. They may not choose an African American to be their state Supreme Court justice, but the way you guys drove the district, Shreveport, as a rapper said, is going to have something to say in that, and I think that's really important to make sure our voice is going to be heard. So, kind of talk to us about the calculus that went into making sure that one, we had another district, but at the same time, making sure that Shreveport was represented in that piece.
Well, we had an initial map that was doing that. Now, I think this final map, I don't know if you're talking about Shreveport actually being included in the drawing. Okay, so.
No, as I appreciate it, Shreveport, so you got the second African-American district that goes Baton Rouge up the river.
Correct.
But
we had a map, just not to confuse the audience.
Okay.
We had a map that initially would have brought in actually
Shreveport.
geographically
Gotcha.
some part of Shreveport.
Gotcha.
But the ultimate map went along the Mississippi River,
Right.
and will probably come over towards closer to Monroe as far as the other
right.
majority Black seat.
Gotcha.
However, having said that, now I do think we need to meet with and begin to talk to the justice that would be for this area now, who I believe it would be Justice Genovese. I believe it may be the person. I'd like to see us bring him up and begin to talk to him. This is going to be some new area for him that he may need to begin to get familiar with,
Right.
As they say, the movers and shakers up here,
Right.
and have a good understanding of what the lay of the land may be. So I'm looking forward to maybe extending an invitation like that, and having some community leaders and other individuals get an opportunity to begin to engage and talk.
Right.
I do think Shreveport would be remains to be rather one of the larger African American concentrations of voters,
Right.
so you can't be ignored.
Right.
And so let's just try to make sure that some of this territory began to be included in whatever decisions are being made
Right.
about the next Supreme Court justice. But not only that, let's talk a little bit locally too, because we have a local, our local district court here in Catawba
Oh,
Parish
yes.
is something that I believe we need to to look at, and I think
Right.
some opportunities may lie there also.
Right.
To add another minority seat
Right.
to the First Judicial District Court bench,
Right.
without necessarily making any of the existing judges lose their seat. So
Right.
we need to begin to look at that. It appears that numbers would justify that.
I think so.
Right now, I think it would be the right thing to do.
Mhm.
But we certainly need to be sitting down and taking a look at that and trying to make sure that we are ready to add an additional seat to the first JDC in a manner, like I said, that may not necessarily result in any of the sitting judges actually losing a seat that they have.
Yeah, I agree 100% with you. Senator, let's kind of flip it back to the more infrastructure, transportation, and let's try to hit it twofold a little bit. We did some things with regard to infrastructure, with regard to giving more money to LADOTD. What are your thoughts about, I guess you could almost call it almost like an omnibus type deal that we did where we addressed a myriad of things, but in it was the largest tranche, as I can appreciate it, went to LADOTD. What was your thoughts about that? And then I want to come back and talk about Amtrak a bit.
Yeah, I do think it was good to have that money. There are a lot of highways, roads, and bridges throughout the state.
Highways.
Right. Yeah, that
Not in front of your house.
That's right. That need to be handled. But here locally now, one of the roads that we have in there is Hearn Avenue,
Yes.
which has been drawing
Yes.
a lot of complaints.
Yes.
In fact, when I got my new car, I did not want to drive my car on Hearn Avenue, but we have that in. It should be up and rolling around the first part of the year. I do understand now that Ford Street, as far as the city coming in,
For the audience,
Yeah.
I'm gonna put this. I wrote this down because I go to Mount Canaan, and that is a huge issue for us. Is Ford
Right.
Street.
Well, no doubt about it. The representative and myself have worked tirelessly when he was a commissioner.
Thank you.
And I was a representative, and now that he's a representative. I'm a senator. We've been working tirelessly to get
Yes.
some movement on Ford Street. It's in terrible shape. But I do understand the city is kind of ready now to go in and deal with those surface issues
Good.
that need to be addressed, and then we could come back and do what we can to address the overlay of it. So I think putting some money in the roadways and in the streets is something that we needed to do, and I'm glad that some money went in, not only for our local area, but throughout the state, because it's we all use those roads and highways, and we just need to make sure that they're in some decent shape.
Again, this is not the street in front of your house.
Right.
That's city streets.
These are
Right.
state highways.
Right.
Senator, you've been a big advocate of Amtrak, and I think you were able to put, was it $10 million?
Right. We have $10 million into the capital outlay fund for Amtrak.
So talk to us about your vision for that. You've been championing this for quite a while. Where do you see it going, and what do you think it's going to mean for our area and our economy?
I say this, and it's a part of a broader vision for downtown. We must get our central business district back up, get it active, and let it be the heartbeat of the city. So Amtrak is planning to do a guest passenger rail from Dallas through Shreveport all the way over to Atlanta. And we want to make sure that we stay in play. I had an opportunity to participate in the Southern Rail Commission meeting that they had this past week, and to once again advocate for the fact that we are not abandoning the idea of having that guest passenger rail running through this area. So in our capital outlay bill as a P5 project right now, because there's no need of trying to build a platform or a train station if the train isn't coming, we have $10 million in there, and we want to make sure that we're showing our good faith and readiness to move forward. So that's where it lies right now. I was assured at that meeting from the conversation that took place with the commissioners that they're still very much interested in that route being completed and moving forward. It's not moving maybe as fast as some of us want it to, but we need to make sure that we rekindle the interest. As I said, I think it's a larger part, gentlemen, of a vision for our downtown business district. We really need to make sure that there's some good leadership that's going to be there. There's a national search underway right now to try to get a new executive director of our downtown development authority, which is people who are somewhat overseeing the area down there. We need to make sure that is done right and we have a good outcome. We have someone with the background and with planning and know how to go in and make sure that this is done, or at least whoever it is come out of that process is open to the idea that you must have someone who knows something about developing a downtown business district and also a Red River entertainment district. So it's a larger part of that vision. I'm pleased to see the efforts that is being taken place that is taking place by the city, building some of the residential areas down there along 4th Street and on the outskirt areas of downtown. I'm very pleased and have talked to the division administration about continued work on the state office building downtown. That would bring a lot of foot traffic. I think that's something that we need downtown. And Representative Jackson and I have met and want to make sure that the law school continue to be developed downtown. So we're trying to make sure that that the downtown central business district becomes the heartbeat. Now, if we can do that, I think it also extends itself out into the community and in many different ways because of jobs that could be created and businesses that could be located downtown. One of the things that I want to venture into going forward is how do we work to make sure that, you know, new emerging businesses, minority-owned businesses, we want to make sure that we have avenue downtown where they can open their doors downtown and have a business downtown if that's what they want
And
to
stay
do.
open.
And stay open. That's right. So
And stay open.
so
Right.
one of the things I'm kind of asking Senate staff to look at is some kind of a subsidy program for rent and for lease down there, but it needs to be tempered where we don't have people trying to price gouge because
Right.
they think the state may be subsidizing it or something like that. But we need to be able to go in and really try to help get businesses on their feet down there. I think we've heard of some recent stories about some doors that were closed downtown.
Right.
But we need to try to make sure if someone is trying to locate down there, that we are doing something to help them at least get through those first few years that they really, really need to try to get their overhead under control and keep people hired. So
Right.
that's a larger part of the vision that we have there.
Absolutely.
Well, one of the things that I want to throw before we leave, and again, we really appreciate you, Senator, for being a friend of the show.
Senator Sam Jenkins,
Yes.
Senate District 39.
Yes, for always being so willing to physically come here or call in and let folks know what's going on so they can be informed. One of the things that I saw that you guys did, both the House and the Senate, that I think has never been done before, was address. There was a maybe it was a House bill, maybe it was a Senate bill, can't remember which, that deals with deferred maintenance in higher education, so that some of the buildings at Southern
House bill.
Shreveport,
Right.
some of the buildings at Grambling State University, some of the buildings at LSU that have needed refurbishment, have needed a new roof that they didn't have the money for, can finally be done. Talk to our audience about why it was so important to support a bill like that to deal with deferred maintenance in our higher education and the very complex funding mechanism that you guys put in place to make that happen, because I think it's huge.
Right, no doubt about it. It was a House bill. I think it was House Bill 700. Maybe a little bit off on the number.
Representative Chris Turner.
Chris Turner, yeah. But here's the bottom line: that bill is going to help us address what we call deferred maintenance. Be able to go in and make repairs to buildings and infrastructure on our college campuses, which is a big drawback, okay? And it has built up so much over the years. Over time, we'll be able to commit over $1 billion now to that. But not
With
only
a B.
Right, with a B. But not only that, under that bill, it's going to make it a whole lot easier for the college presidents and the college boards to try to decide on some of those projects that are needed.
That's good.
And will make it a lot easier for them to be able to actually contract people to come in and do the work.
Good.
So you're right. I think it's a significant bill. It's a game changer for our colleges and universities, and will really help to improve the housing on there and other buildings that are on these campuses that have been ignored or put on the back burner for such a long, long time.
Well, Senator, again, we want to thank you
Yes.
for your time. I want to personally say thank you for being a role model, a mentor, for individuals who are stepping into public service. I always tell people, I wish I had the temperament of a Sam Jenkins.
Now we need a Steven Jackson in the mix, believe me.
But sometimes you gotta have a bomb throwing here and there.
Hey man,
but we all approach this thing, and I think that's what
Teamwork.
that's what the team is about. Everybody,
That's right.
you get something different when you come there. Everybody in our delegation,
Right.
On both sides of it too. So, but Senator Jenkins, I think the people need to know that you are our leader, particularly our audience. You are our leader in Baton Rouge. We
Right.
look to you. I know when I have an issue, like I say, I'm gonna be sitting back there on that couch. Cleo gonna turn around. What do you want? And I'm gonna say, well, I'm waiting on Sam. I'm waiting on Sam.
Right.
Well, finish doing whatever. So thank you so much for keeping your hand on the plow and staying on the wall, because it is difficult in this particular time. And so on behalf of me and from our listeners, thank you for your temperament, your leadership, and your representation for not just Senate District 39, but North Louisiana.
Yes.
I got to continue to emphasize that, North Louisiana. So,
And I want to compliment you, Representative Jackson, for your tenacity and your stick-with-itness. You brought some very impactful bills,
Thank you.
and you stuck with it. There was a lot of resistance sometimes, but you stuck with it and you saw some things through that I really think are going to help, especially the bill with the economic development and being able to kind of not disclose or put all your cards on the table to the detriment of your parish when you're trying to move forward. And so I want to compliment you on that.
Thank you, sir.
Continue to work hard just like you're doing. You were elected to do a very difficult job. Being in the legislature is difficult, but we asked for the job, and I know I enjoy serving as a senator, and I see that you enjoy serving as a state representative, and we're going to continue to work together and do what we can to help our people.
And we don't forget about our ladies, Rep.
Right.
Walters, Rep. Phelps.
Absolutely.
It is
No doubt about it.
It is a team effort, and you can rest assured when something comes up about Shreveport, Cattle Parish, Bossier, we are there to make sure that our input, because you do have part of Bossier, right?
Yeah, part of Bossier, that's right.
Parts of Bossier, so.
And we're going to work with, those who are across the aisle.
Yes.
We have, and we will continue to do that. Senator Presley, and Senator Bass, Senator Seaball, and those. We're going to continue to work with them and try to do the things that we can do project-wise back here, infrastructure-wise, and some of those. I know there may be some political differences, but to the extent that we need to build up Northwest Louisiana and the northwestern part of the state, we're going to continue to work together as a delegation to do that.
So do you have any closing words that you'd like to leave our audience with?
No, let me just say again how much I appreciate the opportunity to serve the people of Senate District 39. I want you to know I enjoy serving as your senator. I want to be accessible to you. I'll be making some laps here over the next few weeks just to bring everybody up to date. We'll be putting some word out there where I'm going to be and what I'll be talking about. And if you're in the neighborhood, please stop by.
Well, Senator, we thank you for your time and your leadership and your mentorship, both for Representative Jackson and myself many eons ago as a councilman, and even more eons ago as a young lawyer. You were one of the very few
Why
people.
you emphasize a million, Eon?
Well, my hair's still gray, so I'm gonna leave it at that. But being and I say this and I don't gloss past this. A lot of times in our community, we have this divide between the ages, that the people that come before you don't have relationships with them, and so you're disrespectful. But we lose as a community when we don't respect those folks that came before us, that help us not make the same mistakes that they did, so our community can move forward. And so I'm just excited when I see scenarios where people who have been there before are respected, and they respect those people that are coming behind them, and don't try to treat them like little people and those types of things, and give them the respect that's due to their position. Because at the end of the day, our job is to represent the people.
Correct.
It's not a marathon. It's not a sprint. It's a marathon relay. We each have a time to run, and we got to pass the baton at some point. And the longer we get to the point where we pass the baton and bring people along, That's what's going to help our community move forward. And you've always, whether it be as an elected official, whether it have been as an attorney at law, you've always been one of those few people who have seen the picture and have always looked at it and invested in people that are coming behind you. And I think there's not a mystery as to why you have been supported in these different levels, because you have shown that you care about the community, support other people. So I'm thankful that you are a senator. I know you're doing a great job, and we just appreciate you being with us this evening.
Absolutely. And I appreciate being here with two of my favorite people and being here at 97 The Beat. I tell you what, I'm so impressed with everything I'm seeing here. Hopefully come back sometime soon. And
Yes, sir.
you gentlemen keep up the good job. You're putting good information out there, and you're putting it out there straight, just like you say. And that's what people need to know, and they can make up their own minds about it.
Yes, sir. And we try to give everybody the opportunity to come here and have a complete thought without cutting you off. And
I see.
You
Yes,
don't rush it through.
That's
You can
right.
have a good conversation.
That's
and
right.
our listeners are listening. So
Yes.
trust me, they do
Yes.
listen. So
Yes.
we want to thank you, Senator Jenkins, Senate District 39. This has been issues that matter. We hope that you have a good midpoint of your week. Calvin, you got anything to close it
No,
out
I
with?
just tell everybody have a great week, and we'll see you on Thursday, 97.7 The Heat, WKSH. We play what we want to play, and we say what we want to say. Stick with us. We'll talk to you at the end of the week. God bless.
Sitting here in this chair, waiting on you, oh baby, to see